What's up, fellow Lords of Gaming? Welcome back to another episode of Marvel Future Fight. So there was something I missed out on that I wanted to jump in on for updates inside of here, right? Okay, so one, we do have biometric acquisition is up for the Galactic Imperative, so you can get some of those rewards there. And then what I wanted to point out though specifically, so like go to your Epic Quest. I never know how to navigate when I'm on stream. So like if you go to your Epic Quest and you go to Galactic Imperative, you'll notice that the bios for the emissions are up here. So like you can gain more bios for your characters essentially from these areas, specifically the space prison, right, missions and stuff like that inside there. So if you need those new rewards, go ahead and go do those inside there. It's a good way for you to just level up on those characters. Not to mention it's a good way to get to Gladiator if they ever plan on T3 in my man or not. We'll see. But what I want to bring to you guys' attention is specifically is that they did make some improvements to Giant Boss Raid. Now, they're not the improvements that we wanted or that we needed. So Master Mold has basically effectively been buffed a little bit or nerfed a little bit because he's had some changes that has happened to him. Excuse me, God, throat is hurting. So we basically had like some changes to Master Mold. They basically, I think it counts as a debuff, right? Like, let me take a look real quick here and read back through this. So we get the HP, defense, and the reduced debuff duration ability for Master Mold. They basically adjusted it, but they don't really say how they adjusted it. So it could be a buff, could be a nerf, right? But here goes the problem, right? We didn't get Galactus. So now what they've done is they've added in rewards, Souls of the Faltine, for the Galactus raid, right? Okay, that's cool, right? You would think that that means that now players on a day-to-day basis could run in here and they can basically choose to do either Galactus or they could choose to do Dormammu and they can get those rewards, right? Cool. That would have been the awesome idea, right? This is like weird though, right? Let me explain. So notice what rewards you can obtain from Galactus. It's just the Souls of the Faltine that have been added. That's it. It's just the Souls of the Faltine. They didn't add any of the books of Ashanti to him. Like, they don't have the books of Ashanti inside here. Like, notice these books. So right now I happen to sit in a very special place because I have all 10 books for all of the classes. So I can't do anything, right? Like I can't earn over the 10 books. Like if you go in my inventory, it's not as if though I have my rank up materials inside here and I can go over on my books of Ashanti. That's not how it works. I'm capped out at 10. I can only own 10. So by default, I can basically come over and I can play Galactus because I already have all of those books, right? Here goes the bad part about that though, right? Like, why? Because like, so let's say I go in and I level up Star-Lord because he's the newest character on the roster and therefore I don't have blast books and I want to jump in, play Giant Boss Raid, but I want to play Galactus. Well, the bad part about this essentially is I don't have a reason to play Galactus. So you essentially split up the community and who's going to play, but you did like, you know, by your own definition, because now some people would, let's remove the books, right? So what you've done by basically saying the rewards are shared, right? Meaning like, it's not that you can play Galactus and get 150 Souls of the Faltine and you can play Dormammu and get 150 Souls of the Faltine. No. You play Galactus or Dormammu and get the Souls of Faltine. Let me show you what I mean. So since I have these inside of here, all the books, what I'm going to do is I'm going to jump inside of Galactus, right? I'm going to jump inside Galactus. Let's see if anybody's playing Galactus. So luckily there's some people playing Galactus inside here. I'm just going to go full on with my rewards. I don't really care. Hopefully, man, I just realized I don't know what Galactus attacks patterns are. I don't know what Galactus attack. I can't, like, it's been so dang long since I have played Galactus in order to, like, because you only really play Galactus for a short amount of time, and now I don't remember Galactus attack patterns inside here. Let's see what I do in terms of damage to this dude. Oh, I'm murking this mother sucker. This dude don't stand a chance. Yo, Galactus, what's up, bro? Oh, you made me waste my tier 3, son. You made me waste my tier 3 Galactus. Like, why you do that, bro? That's just piss ant. Like, I murked that dude. Murked him. He got murked. So here goes where we get into the bad part, though, right? So you can see the rewards accumulating inside here, right? So I'm essentially able to get the rewards. How the fuck? I'm going to tell you something right now. This has been the first time that I've ever used the boost point rewards and literally used more than 6. Like, normally I use like 6 boost point rewards inside here, and I'm able to clear like a full 130 or something like that. I've gotten less Souls of the Faltine by playing Galactus in this run than I would normally if I had just played the Dormammu run. Like, I had 8 boost point rewards and I only got 92 of the total. Like, what the fuck? So anyways, but notice that it says 58 out of 150 rewards basically available for the Souls of the Faltine. I'm maxed out on my premium tokens and stuff like this. But then we come over here to Dormammu, right? And you notice that it's a shared Souls of the Faltine level there. Like, it's 58 out of 150. Well, what reason do you as a player have? What's your incentive for basically jumping inside Galactus boss raid if you can just jump inside of Dormammu and get the you know, the same Souls of the Faltine that are shared over there, with the chances of being able to acquire the books of Vishanti that you may or may not need? Now, I get it. It's probably going to be easier for you to just go after the Souls of the Faltine because you're going to be able to mop the floor with Galactus, which is about any T4, it looks like, by comparison over here. And you'll be able to mop the floor with him in order to just quickly get to the Souls of the 14 versus, I mean, it doesn't really take long with most of the characters. Like, if you did like, I didn't even track the time on there, but if you did like, you know, like Black Bolt or Thor, you know, Thanos inside Dormammu, it doesn't take you long either. There's like 2 minutes there, probably opposed to the 1 minute that it just took me to do it inside there. But the point being is that, like, most players are going to probably be rotating through these books and stuff like that for the character, and I'm really going to be looking at essentially wanting to get the books and the Souls of the Faltine, not just the Souls of the Faltine. So like, after today, or like, let's say I was in a position to tier 4 Star-Lord, after today I'm gonna be really playing until I get my books of Vishanti Blast for Dormammu, and I don't have a reason to go back into Galactus myself because I don't have an ability to level up you know, Star-Lord, or I might not choose to. I could go in and play this because the Galactus, but I think the better idea that they would have went with this is to not share the Souls of the Faltine between those, but instead give me the Souls of the Faltine for Galactus. That way you ensure players are wanting to play across multiple of the game modes and stay in the game longer. Because then if I had 150 for Dormammu, then I'm looking at my roster, right? Because I can't reuse Black Bolt, right? I can't reuse Black Bolt, Medusa, and who else did I use? Morgan Le Fay. I can't reuse those characters for Galactus now, right? Like, so like if I go inside here and I looked at Dormammu, for instance, right? Those characters are not available to me. See that? They're not available to me. They're all the way down here at the grayed out list. So like it would have forced me in a position like, so most players, right? Here goes the good things. Most players, right, would have basically been in here and they're only going to use the 100 boost points that they have, more than likely, to try to get after rewards. That probably puts them in the ballpark vicinity of probably like about 50 or so you know, Souls of the Faltine that would have got. So that's one run, right? They would have had to go in for a second run, and they would have had a decreased list of players to use from, so they didn't have to go to another 3 characters that they could use, which would get them probably the additional maybe 50 things, because they're going to wait for the boost points to regrow, and then I'm basically going to use 50 to get maybe another 50. So I might have to use 2 to 3 teams on Dormammu just to get the 150 Souls of the Faltine, and I've used 2 teams. But it puts me in a great position, because then I've basically used 2 of my teams, especially like players. I'm sorry guys, I'm telling you how they could fleece you, but play along with me here. So I'm essentially then looked at like I'm using 2 or 3 teams to go against Dormammu, while I can use a 2 or 3 additional teams to go against Galactus, and that kind of increases the pool in which I need to use. There's going to be some players that don't want to do that, right? So there's going to be some players that just want the quick hit, where they're going to be like, hey, I'd rather get the full 150 Souls of the Faltine with one grouping of characters, so I'm going to purchase boost points inside here, and maybe when I go inside here, I recharge my boost points. Like, I'm not gonna lie to you guys, there have literally been days where I just been like, yo, I gotta get this done real quick before I run in here to work, and I've purchased the 150 boost points. I've purchased the 150 crystal 100 boost points, so that way I can basically net as many rewards as I can to just get there, because I'm like, I don't want to play giant boss raid 3, 4, 5 times. So instead I just go in here, purchase the boost points, and then I use Black Bolt, master, you know, clap Dormammu's cheeks, and then move along, and I'm good. Well, this would have incentivized me, a player like me, for instance, right, to be able to say like, hey, you know what, I'm gonna clap Dormammu really quickly. I gotta go in here and fight Galactus real quick, and then I'm gonna get after him, right? And here goes the better part about this, right? You didn't have to give 150 of the Souls of the Faltine to Galactus, because we the player would have recognized immediately Galactus is a far easier battle than Dormammu. So reduce the amount of Souls of the Faltine that would have been gained here to, like, let's say 100, right? So now I'm basically able to get 100 and 150, 250 total Souls of the Faltine, and then reduce it again for Master Mode and say that I'm able to get 50 Souls of the Faltine from here. So now 150, 150 makes 300 Souls of the Faltine on a day-to-day basis that I can get. 300 of those. And you could even reduce the numbers in other ways outside of that. Like, you could, like, Galactus is so goddamn easy that if you wanted to, you could be like, hey, well, it was 150. Galactus is going to take you even quicker time, so we're going to reduce it to, like, we're going to put it in half, and we're going to make it like 75. So now you basically went 175, whatever, 150, 75 basically gets you 225, and then basically like make Master Mode like 25, and he's like, so now you're at like 250 or something like that, right? But you get what I'm saying. Like, I know my math is off there, trust me, I know my math is off. 225, 250, it might be wrong, might be right, but you could have done it in this way, so that way players are incentivized to play the other modes, build up their rosters as well. And then for those whales and those play-to-play players like myself, we would have been incentivized on certain days to basically go in and purchase boost points, so that way we can get after these battles in a more meticulous way, by basically being saying, instead of, you know, me having to come back into the game 2-3 times so that way I can hit up and get all 150 of these boost points, I can then go and purchase the boost points inside here, get the Souls of the Faltine, jump inside Galactus, run that once or twice because it's easier than run inside Master Mode, or just simply be like, hey, I'm gonna purchase the 150 boost points, or whatever, the 100 boost points that's inside here, run it with my full 200, hopefully get the 150, and then maybe purchase additional boost points inside here, so that way I can basically do that one time. So now I'm running 1 and 1 and 1. You could have did that and just got more for your bang for your buck, but you're trying to squeeze too hard. Like, even if I was to look at like a character that I could, like, say for instance that like my Professor X, his character gears are at 25, so I haven't really done anything to that. I've got 4,500 Souls of the Faltine, but in order to just say that I'm going to level this character up to a point where I can get it, I just need about 8,000 to be able to say that I'm really going to get after this character and know for a fact that I'm going to get him all the way to tier 4. I need like 8,000 Carbonadium to feel comfortable. I need like 8,000 Souls of the Faltine to feel comfortable, especially with the rolls on these. So like when you divide that 8,000 by 300, right? So I'm bad for math, so I'm gonna pull up my handy dandy calculator over here. But let's say it was 8,000 souls of Faltine life carbonadium that you basically need to get after that, right? And we basically divide that by 300, you know, on a day-to-day basis. It's still essentially taking me a month, you know, to build up enough souls of the Faltine and carbonadium. And that's me doing it religiously and eking out every little bit to basically get my next tier 4. I get it that they've added other additional ways now that I could basically purchase souls of the Faltine by doing like otherworld battles, for instance. So where's that goddamn game mode? So for instance, inside Otherworld Battle, I can now go inside this game mode, and I do have a battlefield shop where I can purchase materials in terms of like the 300 souls of Faltine, 300 carbonadium, and 200 life seeds. But pay attention to this too, right? Because if you notice inside here, they cost quite a bit of these warrior mementos. It's 7,000 of them, and I'm limited on a monthly basis to 2 of them to make the purchase. So that's like 600, right? So I'm not really getting to the tipping point where it's like I'm overly doing it. You're basically giving people, like, I'm basically being able to cut from maybe a full month of grinding of getting this, so that way I can ensure that I'm getting the next tier 4, to maybe dropping it down to, like, you know, 20 days so I can get to the next tier 4. And that's not bad, especially at the rate that they're releasing tier 4s inside the game. You don't have a real big problem. You still have 266 characters that have the potential to be tier 4'd inside the game. I think it was like 254, 266 or whatever. But there's still characters that have to hit T3 mark or hit the potential transcendence mark, so that way they can even sniff tier 4. So there's enough groundwork still to make up there for the community to basically do it. Remember, you're only releasing like 1 to 2 tier 4s per month. So essentially that's 24 characters in a year that are going to get tier 4'd, unless you accelerate it somehow with other additional events and things like that. But essentially you end up with 24 characters in a year that are probably going to hit a tier 4 marking. That's out of 254 characters. So really giving me the means to earn those rewards isn't really slowing things down in any shape, form, or way, especially if it's taking a month, because I can't tier 4 2 characters in a month. Just think about it, guys. It's just terrible. Like, they could have did this in a far better way, in a meaningful way, but essentially we end up with Giant Boss Raid, Galactus, and nobody has a reason to play him. And you divided the community for people who are going to play Dormammu versus people who are going to play you know, Galactus for no reason. You know, like, that's just the truth of the matter. And I think there's far less people that have a reason to jump inside Giant Boss Raid Galactus to do anything. It just is. So I don't know what it is, why you guys chose to do that. I hope you guys choose to change direction on that and just give the rewards as just something for Galactus to incentivize players to stay in the game longer and to create bigger rosters, because now they have a reason to. So I hope you guys enjoyed the video. Let me know what you think in the comment section below. Until next time, peace.